In case you wish to publish your watch face on Google Play, you need to follow some requirements from Google. For example, your watch face must not use more memory than the limit imposed by them. To help you stay inside that limit and to also keep you aware of how much memory your watch face might use, you can use the diagnosis tool from Watch Face Studio. But for that, first you need to install the plugin that adds this feature to the WFS. To install it, click on the menu icon up here, then select the option Preferences. A pop-up will show up. Inside it you will find the Plugins tab. Inside this tab you can manage what plugins you have. As we don't have the plugin first, we need to get it. For that, click on Get Plugins. You will be taken to the Samsung developers website, more specifically to their official plugins page. The plugin we want is this one down here, the memory usage plugin. Click on this text to download the file, then read the terms, and click on I agree and download. Once the download is complete, go back to the Watch Face Studio. In case the pop-up closed, open it up again. Now that we have the plugin, it is time to install it. For that, click on Install Plugin, then select the file you've just downloaded. Once again, the terms will show up along with a warning message. Don't download or install any plugin that is not from a trustable source. I recommend only installing the official ones, always downloading them from Samsung's website. After you read the terms, click on Agree, then click on OK. Once the plugin is installed, a pop-up will show up. This might take a few seconds. Now click on OK and that's it. You have installed the plugin. Now that we have installed the plugin, we can start using it. To test a watch face, click on the Diagnosis button up here and wait while the test runs. This might take a few seconds or minutes depending on your computer and on how complex the watch face is. Once the test is complete, a pop-up will show up. In here we can find the estimated memory usage value for the current watch face. The first value is for when the watch face is on normal mode, which currently has a limit of 100 megabytes. The second value is for when the watch face is on AOD mode, limited to 10 megabytes. Be aware that the math used for calculating this memory usage is confusing. It is not, exactly, related to the file size. For example, the memory usage for an image is calculated by multiplying its width by its height by a third value that can be 4, 2, or 1 depending on the color format it uses. For AOD mode, not all components are included in the calculation. Usually it is only the ones that can be dynamic in this mode, like hands and complications, for example. Also, the order of some components might change these values. For example, the AOD usage estimated value right now is 913 kilobytes. If I simply place the analog clock component down here and run the test again, we will have another value. See, now the estimated usage for the AOD mode is 1001 kilobytes. 88 extra KB for changing the order of the components. This is all to say, use this tool just to make sure you are inside the limits imposed by Google. If you are inside the limit, don't worry about these numbers. In case you want to try to understand how these values are calculated, I'll leave some links in the description. Those are not required readings and are not easy to understand. I personally gave up after a point. Inside this pop-up we can also find the minimum SDK version our watch face requires. Watch faces that use the photo slot component or the pre-made features require at least the SDK 36, which is also known as Wear OS 6. In other words, if you use any of these features on your watch face, it will not be compatible with Wear OS 5 and lower. In this example, I am using the photo slot component. If I remove it and run the test again, the value will change. Now the minimum SDK level is 34. SDK level 34 is also known as Wear OS 5. This level is required for watch faces that use complications supporting the goal progress and or the weighted elements type, complications that use the heart rate as the default data source provider, or weather tags. If your watch face uses any of these features, it will not be compatible with Wear OS 4 and lower. I'm using the weather tags in the example to show the current temperature and its unit. In case I remove this group here, which contains those tags, and run the test again, the new minimum SDK level will be 33. SDK level 33 is also known as Wear OS 4 and is the lowest level WFS can go. These level changes are made to ensure that your watch face is compatible with as many devices as possible. The on-pixel ratio is not exactly part of the diagnosis tool, but I want to talk about it again, as I only briefly mentioned it in the first video. When the watch is on AOD mode, the number of pixels that can be lit up is limited to 15%. Whenever you try to run or build the watch face, a test is executed to make sure that this limit is not exceeded. This test is also executed by Google when you try to publish your watch face on Google Play. In case you want to know the on-pixel ratio value given at current time, simply change the view of the canvas to always on, like this. Now the OPR value is displayed under the preview. Just remember, this value is related to the current time. If you change the current time, this value might change too. To have a more precise value, along with some statistics, click on the Analyze button and wait while the analysis is done. Once it is complete, you will see the minimum and the maximum OPR value your watch face uses, along with a burn-in map. This map shows, in pink, the areas where there are fewer changes in your watch face throughout the day, in other words, areas where burn-in has a high probability of occurring. In yellow, areas that are used throughout the day, but not much, in other words, these areas have a high use, but they change quite often. And in green, areas that have no, or few, use. Just remember that these analyses might not be super correct. For example, it is not taking into consideration that the battery level will drop or rise. In my opinion, these areas here should be yellow. So, use this map as just a base. In order to test the watch face on your own watch, it needs to have the developer's options enabled. Just to be clear, this step is required to be followed only once per device. With that said, open the Settings app on your watch. Once the app is opened, scroll to the bottom until you find the About Watch option. Usually, it is the last one. Once you find it, click on it. A new screen will open with some unique information about your watch. Scroll down until you find the option Software information, then click on it. In this new screen, look for the option Software version. Once you find it, you will need to tap it 7 times super quickly. In case your watch has a password lock, it will be requested. Just type it as if you're unlocking your watch. Once you enter the password and confirm, a message will show up informing you that the developer mode is now enabled on your watch. That's it. If you go back to the Settings app main screen, you will find, at the bottom of the list, the Developer Options button. With the Developer's option enabled, you can run the watch face on your own watch. First, we need to pair them. For that, on the Watch Face Studio, click on the Run on Device button up here. An analysis will run every time you tap this button to make sure the on-pixel ratio is not over 15%. Once the analysis is done, a new pop-up will show up. Click on this plus button here. Keep this screen open. Now back on your watch. First, make sure the Wi-Fi option is enabled and that the watch is connected to the same network as your computer. Then open the Settings app and go to the Developer's Options menu. Now look for the option Wireless Debugging and click on it. Inside this new menu there will be a switch with the same name. Tap on it to enable. In case a message shows up, like this one, just wait while your watch connects to the Wi-Fi. With the Wi-Fi connected, enable the switch. Now it's time to get some information from the watch and type it on the Watch Face Studio. The first one is in the IP address and port field. Copy all the text up to the colon from your watch to the IP input inside the WFS. In this example, the text is 192.168.1.23. Now, in the IP port input, type all the numbers that are after the colon. Following the example, the text here is 34021. We are not done yet. Back on your watch, click on Pair New Device and wait while the data loads. Keep this screen open on your watch, otherwise, it will not pair. Once the devices are paired, it will close automatically. In the pairing code input on WFS, we will type the number shown in the Wi-Fi pairing code field from the watch, that is, 013037, for this example. And in the pairing port input, we will type only the numbers from the IP address and port from the watch that are after the colon, just like we did before. This time the number is 36631. With all fields filled, click on OK and wait while it pairs. Once the devices are paired, your watch will be listed here. Now click on it to select the device. The installation will start. It might take some time. You need to keep this screen on your watch open. By that I mean that you cannot swipe back or press the back button from your watch. If you do that, the watch might disconnect from the computer and the network. However, you can use the home key from your watch to navigate back to the watch face, like this. Once the installation is completed, the Watch Face Studio will show a message saying that the watch face was launched. It might still take a few seconds for it to be really launched on the watch, just wait a bit. Done, now my watch face is running on my watch. The pairing process is not required to be done every time you run the watch face while the project is open. For example, let's change something here, like hiding the background, and then click on the Run on Device button again. Once the analysis is completed, that same pop-up will show up, but this time my device is already here. Simply click on it and wait while the watch face is installed, just like before. It is important to highlight 2 points. First, sometimes the WFS informs that the watch face was launched, but it does not update the current showing watch face to be the one installed. Either way, your watch face will be listed as if it were a watch face downloaded from Google Play. Just follow the same steps you do with regular watch faces to select the one you've installed. Second, technically speaking, pairing the device every time you open a project shouldn't be required. You should only need to enable the wireless debugging on your watch and then click on the Scan Devices option up here for WFS to search and list the paired devices. However, for some reason, this feature does not work all the time, at least in my experience. In case the same happens to you, unpair the device from your watch and then pair it again. To unpair them, open the wireless debugging screen and enable it. Once it is enabled, scroll to the bottom until you find an option with your computer's name, then click on it. Use the option Forget inside this new screen to unpair the corresponding device. Now just repeat the same process to pair it again, and you are done. Quick tip: Wear OS likes to turn off the Wi-Fi even when we are using it. After some time, you will get frustrated and exhausted from having to keep reconnecting the watch with your computer. But there is a workaround. Go to the Developer's Options menu and enable two options. The first one is Stay Awake when charging. This will prevent your watch from turning the screen off and, consequently, from locking up while it is connected to the charger. The second option is Turn on Wi-Fi automatically when charging. I believe this one does not need an explanation. After you've enabled both options, all you need to do is keep your watch connected to the charger while creating your watch face. This way the Wi-Fi stays on, the connection is not closed, and the screen does not lock. I recommend for you to, at least, turn off the Stay Awake when charging option after you are done using it. If you keep it enabled for long periods, the chances of getting burn-in on your watch's screen increase. The Remote Test Lab is a service Samsung offers for developers to test their applications and watch faces on real devices through a remote connection. To use this feature, you need to have a Samsung account. In case you already have one, you can skip this part. In case you don't have one, I'll show you how to create it. First, go to the Samsung developer website. I'll also leave the link for their website in the description. Inside this page, click on Sign In. You will be taken to the Samsung account login page. Down here you can find the Create Account option, click on it. Read and check their terms, then click on Agree. In this new page, enter your data and create a password. Once all the inputs are filled, click on Next. A code will be sent to the email you just registered in a few seconds. Once you have the code, type it in this input, then click on Next. Now you have a Samsung account. Click on Done to be taken back to the Samsung developer website. A few more steps are required. First, inform what kind of account you are creating, then click on Next. One more time, read the terms, check the boxes, then click on Next. On this next page you can fill in some information about you, but it is not required. Scroll down and click on Submit. Done, you now have a Samsung developer account. Click on Go to Dashboard to go back to the main screen. Before we connect to the remote device from RTL, we need to make sure our computer can communicate with it. For that, we need to have the ADB installed and set in the path variables. In case you have the Watch Face Studio installed on your computer, you already have the ADB installed, as WFS installs it to use internally. Now we just need to set it in the path variables. This step is required to be done only once per device. In case you are using a macOS, I'll leave a link in the description with some instructions on how to do this. On the Windows OS, open the File Explorer. Go to your local disk. Inside the Program Files folder, you will find the Watch Face Studio folder, open it. Now open the Tools folder and then the Window folder. As you can see, the ADB executable is located inside here. Now we need to copy the path for this folder. You can see up here the path we need. To copy it, click on an empty area inside this input, like this. Then copy all this text. Now in the Start menu, click on the engine icon to open the computer's settings screen. A couple of options will show up, select the System option. Inside this new screen, click on the last option from the sidebar, the About option. Here on the right, you will find the Advanced System Settings option, click on it. A new pop-up will show up. Inside this pop-up, click on the Environment Variables button. In the first column from the bottom table of this pop-up, look for the value path and click on it to select. Once the path variable is selected, click on the Edit button, another pop-up will show up. In this new pop-up, click on New. A new line will become available in this table. Paste the path for that folder here, then press the Enter key on your keyboard. Done, you've just added the ADB to the path variable. Now close all the pop-ups, one by clicking on the OK button. With the account created and the ADB added to the path variable, it's now time to connect and use the device. Go to the Samsung developer website. Up here you will find some menu options. If you place your mouse over the support option, a menu will show up. Inside this menu, click on Remote Test Lab. Now click on Get Started. Each time you connect to a device, you need to spend some credits. The amount of credit used depends on the device you are using and on how long your reservation is. Each account comes with 20 credits when you create it, as you can see here. Samsung allows you to get 10 extra credits per day. For that, go to the Credits dropdown, then click on Get Free Credits. Done, 10 extra credits. Once again, you can repeat this process once a day to get 10 more credits. Note that on the left sidebar we have the Galaxy Watch option. Click on it to show the devices from this category. Up here you can filter the devices by some regions. You can also list all available ones by clicking on all. Now click on one of them to pick it. For example, I'll pick the Galaxy Watch 8. His first dropdown allows you to pick the location where this device is located. For some devices, there will be another dropdown here allowing you to pick an OS version. Okay, once you've picked the location and the OS version, if available, you need to select for how much time you want to reserve this device. Notice that when I change the time, the number of credits required to use it changes. With all set, click on Start. A new pop-up will show up with the device. Read the disclaimer, then click on OK. Done, there you have the remote device. To connect it to the WFS, click on the Remote Debug Bridge here on the left, then click on Connect. In case you do not have the RDB executable, you will be requested to download it for the first time. Click on Download and wait while the file is downloaded. Once the download is complete, open the file location and unzip it. There will be two extra files, one is the license and the other is the RDB executable. Double-click on this last one to run it. In case a pop-up shows up, click on More Info then click on the Execute Anyway button. A console window will open up informing you that the RDB is running. Keep this console window open, or the connection will be lost. Back on the RTL screen, click on OK, then click on Connect again. If everything went well, the Connect option would be replaced with the Disconnect option. Now on the Watch Face Studio, follow the same steps to run the watch face on a device. Click on Run on Device and wait while the OPR analysis is done. Once it is completed, the pop-up will show up for you to pick a device. This time, the device from the Remote Test Lab will be listed here. Click on it to select, then wait while the installation is done. After the pop-up informing you that the watch face was launched, go back to the RTL page. Once again, sometimes the watch face does not change. If that happens, add it manually, like this. Done, there you have the watch face running on a remote device. Up here you have the time that you have left to use this device. In case you click on it, you can extend the period. In case you run out of time, the connection will be automatically closed. In case you have time left, but you are already done using the device, you can click on this X button to disconnect. This is important because it frees the device for another person to use, and because you might get some credits back, depending on how much time you have left. But before disconnecting, it is recommended for you to clear all data you have added to it. In this case, uninstall the watch face before disconnecting, like this. Once it is uninstalled, click on the X. Mark this checkbox here to get an amount of credits back, then click on OK. Done. Just to clarify, you are not required to use the Remote Test Lab to create or publish your watch face. You're not even required to test at all, to be honest. It is highly recommended, though, please test it. What I'm trying to say is that I showed you the Remote Test Lab because some people might not have a watch, or you might want to test it on a different model. And the RTL gives you this possibility. Now that your watch face is created and you have tested it, it's time to share it with other people. For that you have three options. 1. You share the WFS file, but in this case the person you are sharing with will not only have to install WFS on their computer and follow the Run on Device steps, but they will also have access to your whole project. 2. You can create an APK and share it, then the other person will have to sideload it to their watch. In case you don't know, APKs are a type of file that is used to install apps and watch faces on Wear OS and Android. 3. You can distribute your watch face on Google Play as free or paid content. But for that you will have to create an AAB file, which is the format Google requires to publish on their store. In the case of the second or the third option, you will have to build your project. For that, click on the Publish button up here, then wait while the OPR analysis is done. In this new pop-up we will have to fill in some information. The first one is the package name. The package name is the name that the system and Google Play will use to identify your watch face. There are a few rules the package name must follow. 1. It must be unique for each watch face. So, for each watch face you create, you will need to create a new package name. 2. It must not change after you set it. For example, let's say you install your watch face. If you change the package name and install it again, it will be installed as a new app instead of replacing the old one, and then you will have two watch faces installed. In case you have published the watch face on Google Play and you change the package name, Google will reject the update because the package names don't match. 3. It can only contain letters, numbers, and underscores. 4. It must have at least two parts separated by a dot. 5. Each part must start with a letter. There is one common convention for package name creation. If you have a website, use the domain name in reverse. For example, let's say you have the domain example.com. The package name could be com.example.teo001. I have 3 recommendations for you. 1. Don't use uppercase, even though it is allowed. 2. Don't use underscore, once again, even though it is allowed. 3. In case you don't have a domain, you could use your name or nickname, followed by .watchface. The name of the watch face. The location input is where the file that we will create will be saved. By default, it is saved inside the workspace folder. The version name is a text that the users can use to identify the current version of your project. Whenever you update your watch face, it is also recommended for you to change this text. There are lots of conventions for this name. As we are talking about watch faces built using the WFS, I recommend the following. In case you make a change that will make the watch face incompatible with previous versions, or if you remove a feature, increase the first number and set the other two to 0. For example, do this in case you use a feature that increases the min SDK level, or in case you remove or change a color palette. In case you add something to the watch face without removing anything, increase the second number and set the last number to 0. For example, when you add an extra color palette. In case you are just making some corrections or improving the performance, without adding or removing any feature, simply increase the last number. Again, this is just a recommendation. There are many conventions available on the internet. You can use any of them or even create your own. The next input is the version code. This one is simple. You will start with the number 1, and every time you do this process of building the current watch face, you will increase it by 1. The next input is the min SDK. As I already explained in this video, this value is here just to indicate which Wear OS version your watch face starts to be compatible with. The number 33 means Wear OS 4, the number 34 Wear OS 5, and the number 36 Wear OS 6. In this case, the number is 34. This means that this watch face will be compatible with Wear OS 5, 6, and greater versions when they become available. The next input is for you to pick which type of file you want to generate. It can be AAB, APK, or both. In case you are planning to publish on Google Play, you will need to generate the AAB. In case you want to share it with other people without publishing on Google Play, you will need to generate the APK. The next input is for the keystore path. In case you already have a keystore, click on Browser, pick your keystore file, and then enter the passwords. In case you still don't have a keystore file, click on Create New Key down here, and a new pop-up will show up. A keystore is a file that has a collection of certificates and keys that are used to identify you. Every time you build a watch face, you will need to sign it digitally. For that, you use your keystore. You don't have to create a keystore for each watch face. You only need to create one keystore and use the same file to sign all projects. Be aware that the keystore is required to identify that you own an app or a watch face. All updates you release for a given watch face must be signed using the same keystore. In case you sign it using another keystore, the OS will not install it. And in case you are publishing it on Google Play, Google will reject the update if the signing key is different. For that reason, always keep, at least, one backup of your keystore, and never share the file with someone. This file is personal. Again, it is used to identify that you are the owner of an app or a watch face. With all that said, let's create one. Up here is the place your file will be saved. You can change it or move it somewhere else after you create it. The next two inputs are for you to create and confirm a password for your keystore. Don't forget this password. The key alias input is the name of the initial key your keystore will have, in our case the initial and only one. The next two inputs are for you to create and confirm the password for your key. Don't forget this password either. The validity input is for you to enter the number of years this key will be valid for. The default value is 25 years. You can change this value in case you wish. I don't think it is necessary. It can be extended in the future. In case you want to change it, I recommend always going with a number greater than 25. Down here is for you to fill with your personal data. The organization unit is your department. If you are not a company, type something close to what you do, like IT software, for example. Organization is the name of your organization. Again, if you are not a company, repeat your name here, or enter a nickname, like 108. Then your city name, your state name, and your country code using 2 letters. Once all info is filled, click on OK and wait while the keystore is generated. Once again, I recommend for you to have a backup of it. And please don't forget the passwords. Once the keystore is generated, you will be taken back to that publish pop-up. The information about the keystore and the key will be already filled. In case they are not, pick the keystore file using the Browse button. Then type the keystore's password, followed by the key alias and the key's password. This checkbox here is for you to not have to type the password again while the project is open. In case you close the project, the next time you open it the password will be requested to build it. The app label is the name of the watch face. Right now, it is 108 as you can see here. In case you wish to change, click on Text ID and add a new text, like this. Just remember this is the name the users will see on their watches. The next input is for you to pick what type of watch face yours is. It can be either analog or digital. In case your watch face uses both types, pick the main one, the one that stands out. The next option is the preview image. By default, WFS will generate a preview using the default settings from your watch face. In case you wish to add your own preview, mark this checkbox here, then click on Browse and select the image file. If you intend to publish on Google Play, be aware that the preview must be as close as the watch face itself and must not have extra info, like promotional labels. I recommend for you to keep this option disabled and use the one created by the WFS. In case you leave the option disabled, the preview generated will use this time here. In case you want to set a custom time, uncheck this checkbox, then enter the time you want for the preview, like this. Once all info is filled, click on OK and wait while the watch face file is built. It might take some time. Once it is done, these pop-ups here will simply close. No messages will show up. In case you didn't change the location in the pop-up, the file created will be inside the Watch Face Studio workspace. Open your File Explorer and navigate to the workspace location, like this. Inside the workspace you will find all the projects you have. In this case I have only one. You will find a screenshot folder. This is where the screenshots you take using the preview tool are saved. And you will find the build folder. If you open this folder, you will find 2 other folders for each project you have built. Once again, as I only have one project, I only have 2 folders. The folders that start with ROD are the folders that keep the debug version. As you can see here, this file's name has the word debug on it. You don't need to worry about these ROD folders. The folders we are interested in are the ones that have the project's name without the ROD prefix. Each project you build will create a folder with its name. In this case, this is the one for the project I just built. Inside of it you will find the files created. If you are planning to publish your watch face on Google Play, this is the file you will need to send them. On November 13, 2023, Google started a new policy that requires that new individual developer accounts created on Google Play must go through a testing process where the developer must have X people testing each watch face and or app during X days in order to be able to publish the watch face on Google Play. As my account is from before that date, I'm not aware of the correct steps the new accounts must go through, nor do I have X people to test a watch face during X days just to create this video. To help you out, I'll leave a link in the description for an article with steps from the Samsung developer's website on how to publish it. That is all for this video.